right. Well, this is our first time doing lacrosse talks or legends of lacrosse from afar with people in many different locations, and we're really pleased today to have members of the 2015 gold medal winning team for Canada, first gold medal in women's field lacrosse that Canada ever won. Today we've got two great Canadian players with us. We've got Megan Kinna. And Megan, you're from British Columbia, I believe.
Yep.
And then we have Erica Evans, and I know Erica is from Peterborough. And Scott, I always wonder what town are you from in Canada?
Shelburne, Ontario.
Shelburne. Okay, there you go. The home of Freddie Greenwood.
You got it. He was my phys ed teacher.
Yeah, so historically, Canada has been kind of picking up momentum ever since the early 2000s with its women's program as more and more of our players get to play down in the NCAA and get more experience, as our coaches get to experience more of the NCAA and get more technical help there. And then also our inherent strengths through the box game that make our women players really double threats from both aspects of the game and bring a different version of the game to the field. So really, Scott, you came to the national team program. Was it in 2011 when you joined up?
Yes. So I was hired in 2009, and our first world competition was in 2011.
And that was in Hamburg, Germany?
Yes, Hanover, Germany.
Hanover to Germany.
Yeah,
Hanover to Germany. Okay. And what was the result in that first one for you?
We captured the bronze medal. The bronze
Very
medal,
good.
which I believe was the second ever medal for Team Canada on the women's side.
Very good. And as that event, do you feel that really helped you get ready for 2015 going through that?
Yeah, we definitely learned a lot about that event. I think we took a lot out of that and put towards the 2015 team that we gained valuable experience. And I think with that World Championship and being a spectator and seeing the 2007 and 2013 Senior Championship, we gained valuable information. And really what the information, the most part, was don't be afraid to play a stiff competition beforehand. And I think we opened things up when we played Team USA multiple times through our training process, as well as some really good friendly games against Japan and against Australia to prep us. But then also throughout the process was to get better throughout the tournament. Don't be peaking on day one. We want to make sure that we were progressing all the way through. And we felt that we did that in 2015, where we learned in 2011.
This is really for both Megan and Erica. But Erica, you were at University of Maryland after that event, or what was the timing for your playing at Maryland?
No, it came after my first senior World Cup. So 2019 was the year that I went to Maryland, and 2017 was the senior. So I was at Canisius going into the 2015 U19 World Championships, and then I was there until I graduated and did my grad year at Maryland.
Okay, and Megan, you were at Northwestern, right? A storied program out in the Chicago area.
I was, yeah, but leading up to this tournament, I was still in high school. So I was looking up to players like Erica Evans and Selena Lasota, but still was the high school gal on the team, yeah.
So Selena, she was at Northwestern at that time, right? And she was really getting a lot of acknowledgement nationwide down there for her play. And did that really help you make a decision to go to Northwestern?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. We trained together leading up to my commitment at Northwestern, but we had just become very good friends, and someone that I truly looked up to, and seeing her success at Northwestern really inspired me. And it just led to me committing there as well.
And Scott, like you were down first way back at Buffalo or
Yeah.
Buffalo State, was it?
Yes. No, I coached Eric at Canisius College, which was my alma mater that I played ice hockey at, and then I was the head coach there for 17 seasons. So I was coaching there when I took over the Team Canada programs.
Okay, but did you start out at Buffalo?
Buff State, I was there. I was an assistant coach for one season when I was a senior.
Right.
When I was a senior at Canisius College, so I was still a student, but I was the assistant coach for their spring season.
There always been a pecking order before 2013 with the women's senior team, with it was U.S., then Australia, and then Canada, England, just depending on what the year was like, and that kind of changed. I saw that happen in Oshawa at the 2013 World Senior Games, and saw Canada really take Australia, I think, twice in the tournament, and kind of take that next big step towards being behind the U.S. And that was a monumental step, even though the U.S. Was really tough in the gold medal game that year, but it was such a big moment for Canada to move up, a hard fought another notch in the pecking order that way. And I guess the key thing over in Scotland was that was celebrating, I think, the 100th anniversary of lacrosse in Scotland, I think, or women's lacrosse, international lacrosse, or
I believe so.
Yeah, so that was a big moment for them over there. I saw in the round robin side of it, you guys went 4-1. Was the only loss to the U.S. in that?
Yes, it was. We actually opened up against the U.S. So our first game after playing, I believe, 2 friendlies was against Team USA. And it wasn't the first time that we've seen them. We've seen them a couple times through our training sessions before and through our process. And we really, what we took out of that first opening game was we played really strong for the first two and a half quarters. And we were able to hang with the Americans. So we gained a lot of confidence during that game. And then unfortunately it was like we got in a little bit of card trouble, and the Americans pulled away from us. But the confidence that we gained, that we knew that we could play with them, we just had to string it together for an entire game.
So Erica, with that team, I understand, there, as quite often happens in for our national teams, it's hard to find funding and that sort of things on occasion. And you guys hadn't really gotten together very much, the women's team, before going over to Scotland, or is that accurate?
We did have like a long kind of tryout process. I feel like it was like a 2-week we were together. We did the camp at Syracuse, which we played a bunch of games, and we were split into different teams. So that kind of like helped build our chemistry together. And then we kind of had a training camp before we went over, just to kind of get everything together and kind of play together and practice and work on some of our defensive looks and our offensive looks as well. So overall, like, it's not as much time as you would hope and think, but I think it was a good amount of time to kind of get working and flowing together and kind of gel together before we were over in Scotland and playing.
Now, Megan, were you there for all of that? Coming from BC, were you able to get to all of those things that Erica mentioned?
Yep, was there for the whole tryout process, and as well as the preliminary work through that we did as a team when the final roster was selected. So yeah, was there from BC with a couple other BC kids too. Yep.
Yeah. And what was the feeling? Maybe this is for the players versus the coach right now. What was the feeling before actually leaving for Scotland? Did you feel the sky was the limit, or would you have been happy with silver, or what were you guys thinking?
Yeah, I think what Scott really honed in on was just leading up to the event. We don't want to peak on the first day, and I think we peaked at the exact perfect time was right at the end of the gold medal game, right? So our eyes were always on the gold medal. It was never less than that.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. And I just remember that game, and you guys went up, I think, by 2 goals around the 10-minute mark or so to go, and then the U.S. got a free shot, I think, with like 5 minutes left to go, five and change, and then no goals were scored after that. So it was really tense. I remember, everybody was wondering if there was going to be another goal scored that would tie it or give you guys a little bit of breathing room. And what maybe you could tell us what that last, from players' viewpoints, what was that last 5 minutes like?
It was definitely very intense. I feel like they had the ball for a large majority of it at the end, and our defensive unit kind of just held together. And Cam Halsall, who was our goalie in net, played extremely well the whole tournament, especially in that game. And she definitely kept us in that for the win at the end. But definitely the emotions were high, but just trying to remember like to play within the moment and just play together and have each other's back for sure.
Yeah. And Megan, you were like one of the younger players on the team. Did you get to play a bit down that stretch run, or like what was your situation during the last 5 minutes or so?
Yeah, I was on the field. I don't know if we want to talk about the ending yet, but I remember the buzzer going and running to the group of girls at the end of the field and just getting in the huddle, and it was just the best feeling in the world. I remember looking at Selena, my friend, and just being like, "Oh my God, we did it!" Yeah.
Wonderful. And Scott, what was going through your mind that last quarter of the game? Like, maybe take us through that.
It was probably the longest. It felt like the longest quarter ever. And then it was just a quick ending, like you were saying. The last 5 minutes, as the girls were saying, we didn't have the ball much, but we were making plays defensively, and the Americans just kept on. Getting second looks and that stuff, but we were making the stops, and we were forcing them down the alleys. They missed the net on a couple shots, and really looking back at it, it was like 5 minutes and it didn't have the ball, and we knew we were in the lead and we were just holding on, and then that final buzzer went. And when that final buzzer went, it was just an unbelievable feeling, and that's up. But really, that last quarter, to give ourselves a chance. That's what we wanted to, was to make sure when we were in that gold medal game to have a chance at the end to win it. And I think and history tells itself that's what we did. And the girls played phenomenal through some adversity. All the way through that game, we could not be more proud of them, and it went our way for once in that fourth quarter.
I guess, Megan, one question I have for you. I was looking at your information, and you were a box player, right, from BC. That was your main form of the game.
Yeah, so I grew up playing box. I think Erica did as well, so we're probably in the same boat. But I grew up. I started with box lacrosse at the age of 4, and then switched over to field at the age of 12. So, yeah, grew up playing with the boys.
Okay,
Yeah,
and it was.
And Jim,
Go ahead.
not to cut in there, I actually seen both these girls first. My first experience with them playing lacrosse was both on the indoor circuit when I was out recruiting, and that's when I seen both these girls first play the game of lacrosse in the recruiting realm, but also for Team Canada was playing on the indoor side.
Erica, you played. When did you get to field yourself, field lacrosse?
The first time I think was 2008. So I was roughly around 12, 13 as well. It was after the U19 World Championships were in Peterborough back then. So that was the first time I ever saw field lacrosse. Played box since, same as Megan, since the age of 4. Played boys and girls growing up. But yeah, I didn't play field till I was about 12 or 13. So that was kind of the first time that I saw it and was interested in playing, and then playing for my country.
Okay, and that was with the Kawartha club there?
Oh yeah, I played for Kawartha Lacrosse, yeah.
Yeah, Kawartha Lacrosse, yeah.
For field, and then Peterborough Lakers for box.
So did the Stroop family have a daughter playing for your team, or one or two? Like I remember Dan from the Toronto Rock, and had met him there through that team. And I'm trying to remember, were they on the team as well?
Yeah, Danita Stroop was on that team. We had three girls, I believe, right? Correct, Megan, from British Columbia.
Yep.
Danita, Megan, and Selena were the three girls that were from BC.
Okay. Was there anyone else from any other province, or was it just Ontario and BC, really?
Trying to think. I know we had a couple. We had one girl that grew up in Minnesota. Minnesota with Lydia Sutton.
Holly was from New Jersey.
Yeah, Holly Lloyd was from New Jersey. That each had a parent that was Canadian, as well, that were born in Canada. Any others girls that I'm missing off the top of my head?
No.
But majority of the girls were from Ontario.
Okay, Megan and Erica, there were a number of women players on the 2015 team, and what players do you feel really rose to the occasion over there? I figure most people played their great games over there, but for instance, your goalie, I think she went to the Hill Academy.
Yeah. Cam Halsall, yeah, so she played at the Hill and then played at Rutgers and Stony Brook, I believe, where she went to school in the NCAA. But she was a high school player as well, playing on our team. And you know what? She kept us in every single game that we played. We had some adversity throughout the tournament, and did play in some overtime games that were tight. So she definitely kept us in those games. And then coming to the gold medal game, she stood on her head and played exceptionally well and stopped a lot of shots. The U.S. did take a lot of shots, and she was able to see them all. So that's definitely somebody that is to be highlighted. And then another I would say is Lydia Sutton. So she played on the 2013 senior women's national team, and then played on their U19 2015 team with us. And she's more of a defender, but was playing in a midfield role on the team, and she scored, I believe, 2 of our golden goals, which means that we were in overtime, and the next team that scored won, and she scored both of them. And she is an exceptional defender, has played in multiple World Cups now, I believe 4, but she was kind of like in a different role on that team, and she really stepped up to the occasion. And then Megan.
Yeah, Megan?
Yeah, I would just say everyone played a really vital part of that team, and I think everyone had a role, and some of those roles I think were Kennedy Milburn even being a great defender, but also like in the locker room, she would just bring the whole group together. By the way, she like danced to music or did any kind of thing like that. It was a really special time, and I think people like Holly Lloyd who just make jokes whenever she could, which just brought a lot of lightness to the group too.
Yeah, there's a lot more that goes into it than just on the field, isn't there? In order to show up at the right speed for each game. Yeah. And Scott, anybody you think of that had an exceptional game or play here and there?
Yeah, I thought we had a lot of girls that knew their role and played in their role. We were fortunate enough that we had 3 or 4 girls that had 1 year of NCAA under their belts, but really our youth or players that were just heading, like Megan herself was going to head to Northwestern the year after they come in. But like 2 of our youngsters, Aurora Cordingley was one, and Bryn Yarrington. That's sort of like were really the two youngest players on the team. But then you put them with some other key veterans like a Brenna Shanahan, Tessa Chad, Emily Gillingham. Okay, that all had outstanding collegiate careers as well. This really grew their confidence and that stuff that come in. One player that we touched on a little bit that arguably pretty well had a lot of pressure, or some of the most pressure, was Selena Lasota. Coming from Northwestern, having a year under her belt, was one of the top players in the NCAA. That really went through the World Cup and had to deal with a lot of the adversity, a lot of the pressures, and that stuff. That scored one great big goal for us, that sort of rode us, and gave our confidence grew in that gold medal game from that. But it was a lot of individuals that just made plays defensively. Like you had Jocelyn LeMay, okay, that no, she was the one who got the key cause turnover to get that ball on the ground when the buzzer went. So there wasn't a last ditch desperation attempt by the Americans in the gold medal game. To others, but yeah, pretty well everyone on that team knew their role and contributed in one way or another, not only just in the gold medal game, but throughout the whole World Cup experience.
You played a number of teams in the tournament. What were some of the challenges with the different countries that you played against that kind of come to mind as you think back on it?
Yeah, so round robin was really tough. We opened up against the Americans, and we didn't get the victory in that one. So we were 0-1, and then we had two very tough games against Australia and England that we played, and then I believe we played England again in the semifinal game. That our confidence really grew in that game. But in the round robin play, the game against Australia and England, I think we blew two leads in that game late, but then had to regroup in a hurry and win the overtime, with Lydia Sutton scoring both of those goals in there. But really, in that semifinal game when we played England, I'm not 100% what the final score was, but it was we won pretty easily through that game. That we got off to a great start, and we carried it all the way through into the gold medal game as well.
So let's start with Megan. Megan, before you were getting ready to play in a gold medal game, you had gone through some adversity with beating some teams in overtime. And how did you feel before stepping on the field to play the U.S. in the final game?
Yeah, I think what really resonated with me was Coach Teeter's pregame speech right before we headed out onto the field. It was his champion speech, and I can't say it, but it's something that gives me chills, and it brought a tear to my eye. So I was super excited to head out there as a unit, and we were about to go to war, right? So it was an amazing feeling, and something I'll never forget.
Thanks. Erica, how did you feel personally before the game?
I think for me, I was definitely nervous. I think we all were. It was the first time ever for our U19 Team Canada and past, and then to ever be in a gold medal game. So I think the excitement was very high. The nerves were high, which is always a good thing though too. And I just think just the excitement was there. I think we all were just ready. We've been through so much adversity throughout the tournament. And we just stick together, had each other's backs, and we knew what we needed to do when we stepped out there. So I think just all in all was just excitement, and just having an opportunity to play for something that was bigger than ourselves, which was really exciting.
And Coach, I'd like to hear a little bit about this champion speech.
Well, yeah. So it's like when you're a coach and that level, obviously the girls hit it right on. Obviously, you're going in the gold medal game. A lot of your players feel nervous, okay, and the work, you want to break the routine, break the ice. So they heard it first on. I know Eric has heard this quite a bit. They're playing for me on the collegiate team as well, and Megan's also heard it multiple times now through the Team Canada. But it's called "I Am a Champion," and it's actually like almost like a long speech that I've tailored it to the sport of our women's lacrosse, and it was from a former football coach. I'm not really sure, that I got on off the internet, and I just sort of tailored it in, and it's really, the girls get to see me out of my element a little bit. I tend to be a little bit more reserved and that stuff, but on that one, that I come out of my comfort zone a little bit, that it just breaks the ice a little bit. And we did that, and then a couple things too that we did before the game even started. Like, so we get out, the Americans take the field first. We hear the cheer from the crowd when they take the field. Then when we took the field, the cheer was like 10 times the amount. And that stuff, that we knew that we had the crowd behind us. And then during the national anthem, and we'll give credit to Stu Bagg, our vice president of Canada Lacrosse, that he did this. He gave the girls as many of the Canada flags as they can. And he approached me, and at first I was like, you got to be kidding me. We're trying to get focus for the girl, man. But we went with it. So the girls, after the national anthem, they handed out as many flags as they can to the fans in the stands before they came back over to get ready for the game. And then really the skies opened up. And when you hear about the skies opening up, you think, okay, all right, it was like hazy and then the sun peeks through. No, it was actually the opposite. The rain started pouring down. It came down hard, that it was sleet. The way, it was almost like coming sideways. And that year we had the initials of VC on our jerseys, and it was in honor of one of our senior players that was lost in a car accident before we went, Vanessa Cox. And we talked about her beforehand. Not too many. I think Lydia Sutton was the only girl that really knew Vanessa and that stuff. But we just really talked about her, and that we were giving her the honor that we put a patch on her jersey, and that was her way of giving the Canadians the advantage that day. And when you look back at it, and that stuff there too, and then even afterwards, like when Canada wins the gold medal, reading all the media and the press, and really sort of the excuses that the Americans had, okay, right there, that the skies opened up and it was cold and it was wet and it was rainy and it was sleet and that stuff, and we just basically, we rose to the occasion when that happened. As well, but yeah, so that definitely was there, just to get their nerves down, break it down a little bit, go out of their comfort zone a little bit, and then once the first draw goes up, they settled right in. Which was outstanding for a lot of the girls not to be at in that situation or at that level of pressure. It was outstanding to see.
Tell me what it meant after winning the championship. What did you all go and do, like within the next year coming after that championship over in Scotland? And maybe Erica, why don't you start off? All right.
Like the following year, I went back to school. It was my sophomore year at Canisius, and I feel like for me, it just kind of helped me get out of my shell and kind of play to my capabilities. So we had a really awesome year at Canisius, winning our MAC championship and making it to the first round of the NCAA tournament and playing in that. So that was kind of my lacrosse right after the World Championships.
Yeah, and she was also named Player of the Year of our conference.
Oh boy! Oh, there you go. How about you, Megan? Like, what did you after that great win?
Yeah, I think got home and really. Oh, I did travel. Me and my family traveled right after the World Cup, just since we were over there, and then came back and just prepared for university. So was I think in my grade 11 year going back into high school. So yeah, just prepping for university and playing box lacrosse and trying to play as much as I could.
And Scott, how did that affect you personally as a coach and coming back after that?
Oh, it was definitely great. We rode to confidence. Obviously, having Erica play collegiate for me as well. That when we came back, Then we won a string of conference championships that really, and through future like Canadian successes too, is as well. But this really paved the way for me for some career opportunities, is as well. Even though I didn't select them right at first, but it definitely advanced my career to where I am now at Louisville in competing in the ACC.
Well, let's take a look at what's going to come up in the next little while with sixes coming up, and I'd be interested from Megan. Like, what do you think of the game sixes that's going to be pushed into the Olympics in 2028? Have you played a bit of that?
I have. Yeah, me and Erica both have played together quite a few times in the sixes version, and I think the game is really a unique blend of box, lacrosse, and field. So I think it's the best of both worlds, honestly, and it is my favorite version of lacrosse, I'd have to say. So yeah, it's exciting times coming up ahead, and I think as much as Canada can prepare for LA 2028, I think it's going to be a great opportunity for all Canadians.
Yeah. And how about Erica?
Yeah, same as Megan kind of said. Had a couple opportunities, played in Oshawa for the last couple years. We won gold in Alabama at the World Games in sixes, which is the first kind of all-world kind of tournament for that. So that was super exciting. And then just had some opportunities here and there in the last couple years, but looking forward to the opportunity to have a chance to play for it. I think it is an exciting style of lacrosse because, as Megan said, it meshes box and field together. And I think it just is a fast-paced game that's enjoyable to watch and enjoyable to play.
Good. Scott, what do you think about sixes?
Sixes is unbelievable. I think it's fast. I think it's exciting. I think the girls get to really showcase their skill level, their creativity, their talent. Not to just go back a little bit, but Erica and Megan are also like 2 of 4 of our girls that are multiple gold medalists. So Erica just mentioned that they won gold in the sixes format. And what gets to separate, and Erica and Megan both have an opportunity here this fall that they're both on the Canadian Indoor team as well, so they can separate themselves even into the own elite. They'll be the only 2-3-time gold medalists, or every gold medalist that we have in our sport. But to get back to sixes, I think sixes is just a great brand of lacrosse that really showcases the girls' talent level, and especially these two, and Erica's speed, Megan's creativity in her hands and her stick work. That it's all part of the game, and they both really excel at that, and really you get to see them blossom in the game of sixes, which is outstanding, and probably are setting their sights on in prime too, as the Olympics in 2028 is as well. That definitely isn't out of the reach for these two.
It was always Canada's best kept secret that a blend of the two games would create the best players, and but the U.S. figured that out a while back, and now they have been developing their box programs, so that'll be interesting. Haudenosaunee women, will be tough as well, and who else would be countries to look at in the box tournament?
You can go ahead first.
You go. You go.
Okay. I was gonna say I played in Prague back in April, and the English team, they have a strong kind of group. There's a couple that play on their field national team that are playing, but I feel like they have a good core group that they have that's been playing here and there. Would be probably another one that I think would kind of compete for sure.
Yeah. And Megan, any countries impress you a bit? Like, what's Australia like, Megan?
Australia is going to be pretty good. I actually haven't seen them play before, so I can't I can't say anything to that. But I would have to say I was going to second Erica. Just England is I went over to England last spring and ran a box clinic there for them, and they actually were really receptive on a lot of the things that I was putting out. So it was interesting to see them grow throughout the time that I ran that clinic for them. So I'm interested to see how they'll be this fall.
Oh, very good, very good. And well, what's next steps for the field national field program, Scott? What has to happen with that?
Yeah, so the U20s actually, I believe they depart tomorrow to head over to Hong Kong. So they're just wrapping up, and their world championship is in a week or so. And then right after that concludes, the girls have the indoor championship in Utica, and then the 2-year process starts. The 2-year process will start with naming a coaching staff, going through the tryout process, and I believe it is 2026 in Asia or in Japan is the next senior world championship. And then coincide with that too is we'll start training for the sixes as well. In Canada, we use the same really talent pool for both teams because they're really back to back. And then next season or next summer for the sixes, we have the World Games. And then that is a qualifier for the 2028 Olympics is as well. So like there is quite a few events, and with the new changes to the Olympics and World Lacrosse, every World Championship seems to have a qualifying event. So there's going to be more and more opportunities for the girls to showcase their talent and qualify for the World Cups to get into the World Cups. And championships as well.
A couple of odds and ends. Megan, you played your first season of pro lacrosse this year?
Yep, me and Erica are roommates, so she's actually just in the other room there. But yeah, we this is Erica's second season, but this is my first season here, so I'm super excited to just be playing alongside some of these American girls that I've been frenemies with, I feel like. So it's definitely a fun environment to be in, and yeah, why not play more lacrosse, right?
And what's your team name?
We do a draft every week, so it's actually just captained by some of the players. They select the players out of the whole lot of everyone, and then we have colors that we wear every week. So yeah.
So sometimes you guys don't play on the same team, and sometimes you do?
Yeah.
Is that how
This is
it
our
works?
first week on the same team, so that's exciting.
We're happy.
Finally, huh?
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. Well, this is a time for you to talk. I maybe missed a question or two I should have asked about Scotland. So let's go around a circle. I'll talk to Megan, you first, and then we'll work our way back to Scott at the end. So Megan, anything else stand out about the Scotland experience and winning a gold medal there, and that for you really is going to stick with you?
I just think the camaraderie, as that's how you say it, the bond between the players was really something special with that team. I think that's what you don't forget, right? You never will forget that special bond that you have with your teammates, and I think that team was a really special team. Just some of the girls, I know that we had a ring ceremony, or not ring ceremony. We got all inducted into the Hall of Fame in the fall, I believe it was, and just seeing and being with those girls again was just a really special time, and I think that's something that will last with me forever.
Kind of piggyback off of Megan, just like the group that we had was a really fun, inclusive group.
Maybe we were.
We did a lot together. We colored in between games to get ready for games in our little like common area. We would blow up pool for like our ice tub kind of thing and kind of sit in there and chit chat with each other, which was a lot of fun. But just being able to kind of be there for a short amount of time and just feel like a family was amazing. And also just getting to celebrate with our own families. I had my cousin, Steven, him and his wife were there, when we won. So that was special. And then obviously my parents and my grandparents being there was super special to share that with them, because they've done so much for me to be where I am today. So definitely, just all in all, I think just the group of people that surrounded us, and then our kind of core group of our team and our coaches, I think is a special group that I have friends for the rest of my life, which is so nice.
Very good. And Scott, we'll let you finish up here. You've got the floor. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say the overall growth, and these girls paved the way, and they rode the momentum of the alumni or the senior team from 2013 into 15, and really have paved the way for young girls, young Canada female lacrosse players along the way. That they can our tryout process for future for the future World Cups, and at the U19 now 20 to the senior process is even a lot more deeper, expanding the game into the box side and into the sixes, and really moving Canada into not just like hoping for a medal. Okay, that it's almost an expectation now to be in the gold medal game. And that started with that senior team in 13, continued on the 15, and I think every world championship since then we've been in the gold medal game all the way through. So like really, these girls paved the way for the future lacrosse players, and the sky's the limit. That now we're in the same conversation with the Americans, who really on the women's side were dominate before that. And we really have started to chip away at the senior level as well too. We're still searching for that first gold medal at the senior field championships, but the margin of goals it's getting smaller and smaller, that we're in the game all the way right down to the end right now. And then really in the sixes, okay, winning the first sixes event, coming off that, the girls have a great opportunity to win the first indoor event on the women's side. So just really growing the sport through these girls, and really keeping the momentum going throughout, and it really just doesn't stop now. Like and it's really phenomenal when you look back of what these girls have accomplished. And Megan and Erica, you would say there was probably what 7 or 8 girls that have really stuck together throughout those whole team that have played on various teams, and then obviously with some youth players coming in that are playing in, but it's across all 3 disciplines is as well, which is great to see.
You've played at a high level, and I think a lot of our younger female players would love to hear your thoughts on what it takes to make Team Canada, and any tips you can give to them to play at the best level they can play at.
Yeah, I would say dream really big, and even write down your dreams and put them on paper and work towards those goals every day, right? Like I think it takes a lot of work to make a team like Team Canada, but if a national team is what you're trying to pursue, then put all your eggs in one basket and go for it as much as you can, and work towards that goal every day with a lot of intent.
Very good. And Erica, what would you tell a young, say a 10-year-old who comes up to you and asks about trying to make Team Canada?
Yeah, I would just say enjoy the process. I think as if you love it and you have fun with it, it just makes it so much, like, I wouldn't say easier, but it just makes you more fulfilled when you do get to that accomplishment. And Megan really touched on it really well. It's just making sure that you are putting everything into it and working hard, and it doesn't just come easy and naturally. I heard a speech once that it was like, you don't learn how to walk in a day. It takes time, it takes process, it takes practice. So making sure that you go out and you practice and you watch other players, and you just kind of put in that work to get there. I think that's what the biggest thing is. Like Megan and I love to go out and shoot around, and you can see that when we play in our game, because we've done the things behind the scenes to prepare and get ready for a national team or a pro league or whatever it is. So definitely just making sure that you are putting in the work behind the scenes that nobody's watching, and that'll help you get to the point where you want to be.
Well, I think talked about this event, and now it's going to be recorded for history. And great to have you all together here to share a little bit of what happened over in Edinburgh. And that team will never be forgotten. It set a standard that this is our national summer game here in Canada, and no other country has that amount of respect for lacrosse as Canada does that way. In that manner, Haudenosaunee obviously through the Creators game has an incredible connection, but it's our national summer sport, and we're playing like we deserve to be in every gold medal game if we can. So thanks for sharing your time.